It's a trap!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
This is the Team of Rivals podcast.
Everything you want to hear from the big sports to the big screen.
He's all by himself, fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
He doesn't like you. I don't like you either.
Time winding down. Michael for three. Yeah! Yes! She is gone!
I can't believe what I just saw!
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
You believe in miracles? Yes!
You may fire when ready.
What?
Hey, it's Thursday, August 27th, and we are live once again. Team of Rivals podcast coming at you to talk about the extraordinary things that are happening in baseball, sports, and pop culture. And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't address the ongoing protest movements that are happening in Major League Sports right now. We learned our lesson from last week, folks. We are not going to end heavy. We're going to start heavy. And I'm sure that there will be some tense words exchanged, but that's all part of the bargain. Elliot is, we don't know exactly where Elliot is, but taking his place and sitting in with Ron and I tonight is our good friend hØle joining us to stir things up and to tell us how out of shape we are and how much better it could be if we would just shut up and listen to her. Welcome, El. How are things?
I don't have any complaints. With as good a shape as I'm in, I mean, how can I complain about anything, right?
I've put on a good.
Ask all your followers and commenters.
I've put on a good COVID-10, I think, over the last 2 weeks.
Really, Ron?
I don't know. I feel like it, man. I feel like it, and I know I look a little bit different tonight. And El, you missed this part before we went on. I had to actually, two things. I took the guard off of my electric shaver, so I have no hair on my face now, which is rare. I wasn't paying attention, but I had to complete the job once I screwed up. My phone wouldn't recognize my face either, so I had to redo the face recognition. So sorry, folks, you got a different version of me, and I didn't notice how heavy and bloated my face looked until I cut that short beard off. So just apologize, everyone.
I love that you're apologizing.
I doubt it.
You're apologizing for the fact that you used a razor. Well done.
It's pretty rare.
All right, so it's been nothing but the story the last almost 48 hours. Following the shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin, we've got NBA players forcing the cancellation of playoff games. We have Major League Baseball players sitting out individually, teams expressing their solidarity by sitting out entirely. It affected both of our teams last night. We had at least one player on each team sit out. The Brewers, Reds game was postponed. We had, I think it's up to 7 games tonight postponed. How you guys feeling about professional sports taking a stand and taking away the thing that we love, at least temporarily?
You go ahead,
El. Ron, go ahead.
I'll go ahead and jump in. And look, I was pretty vocal last night. There are 2 things. We'll get to the other subject in a minute. That I'm right there with those guys. I think that if I heard you correct, Pete. Sorry, I was also posting the show up so people could know that we're here. But if I heard that, if I heard the question, how do I feel about players sitting out?
Yep.
All right. Okay. So make sure I was addressing the right thing off the top of the bat. Look, I'm
on top of things as always.
I know. Well, there's a lot of buttons and switches in front of me right now, and you know how it gets. That's why I'm glad you're doing what you're doing now, and I'm not. But, I'm right there with those guys because, look, anytime that And in my personal opinion, I would have liked to have seen all of baseball sit out last night. And I know not everybody's going to share that opinion, and I get it, and I understand. But I think that in a sport that's predominantly white, right, a lot of white athletes in it, I think if the whole sport decides to make a statement to raise awareness, I don't see what the bad that comes out of that. There's going to be some unhappy people, right? And those people really shown their asses last night on social media. But if baseball makes a statement like that in a sport that's dominated by white athletes and white media and white ownership, and most of the fans in the stands are white too, let's face it. So if we kind of stand up against inequality, I think that's a positive thing, because it shows that even baseball's sick of the shit. And we'd expect the NBA to do it. We'd expect something from the NFL to happen. When it happens to baseball, I think it starts to get more people's attention. That's just how I feel.
The NHL, I think they had a game. I think the NHL decided to that they were going to postpone a game, or they were going to.
That's good.
One of their
good for
games
them.
was, which that's like, again, you see it coming from the NBA and and stuff like that. But it's like when it starts to, like when baseball, you've got the NHL, and now you've got, I've always been of the belief, having a large following myself, that it's like, if you're influential, then it's your time to say something. And sports and, take it or leave it, they do have influence on, people, thought, movements, and if you've got influence, you got to say something, and this is how they're doing it, and this is how they're choosing to.
Pete, I know you probably don't agree with me 100%. I'm guessing we don't see all these issues the same way. Nobody's going to, but yeah, your turn, man. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about this.
One, I have a problem that we're causing a dust up over somebody who it's now come out. The police were called to the incident specifically because he was the inciting factor in this. The story that was initially put out that he was trying to break up a fight is not the case. The 911 tape has revealed that he was the one who was the cause of the domestic dispute. That he told the police during the interview that he had a knife in his car. That when they tried to arrest him, to remove him because he had taken his girlfriend's keys away, that he resisted arrest, that he threw them off of him. They tried to tase him. The taser didn't work. He went to his car, and that's when he was shot. And found on the floor of the car that he was reaching into when he was shot was a knife. So we are now rioting in Kenosha, turning it into a war zone, causing an interruption in every professional sport that's happening right now, for what certainly at face value looks like a justified shooting.
Well,
it's too bad that it happened, but based on what police are expected to do in a situation like that, we are now turning a criminal into a victim.
So I don't know
simply because of the color of his skin. If it was a white man and it was the same circumstances, we would not be hearing about this. And if you disagree with me, look up the case. I forget his name right now, but look up the case of the white guy who was shot dead in a hotel room in Arizona while he was complying with every instruction that was given to him by the police. Nobody hears about that one.
So
we are not destroying cities because of that shooting. Second, because I do want to make the point.
Two-parter, okay.
I do not disagree with you that if you have influence, you should use your influence. I don't think that this is the best way to do it is by, and I've said this again and again, Ron, people pay attention to sports to get away from this shit.
Yeah. Don't disagree.
And you risk alienating. Look, if you know that your audience is 100% behind you, then go ahead. Call for the cancellation of games. But you risk alienating half your audience by saying, we're not going to play anymore. We're done. We're going to cancel. I mean, there were apparently serious conversations last night about canceling the NBA playoffs. Ask baseball, ask the NHL how well that went for them in 1994 and 2004, respectively. Canceling a season. Doesn't go over well with your audience. It takes time to come back with it. Do you really want to risk alienating your audience, possibly permanently? Half your audience. You're not going to continue to get paid $30+ million a year, LeBron, if you piss off half your audience, because the revenue is just not going to be there. And particularly for LeBron, you're going to take a strong social justice stand like this, but you're not going to say shit about China. Fucking coward.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I mean, as long as there's politics, there's going to be hypocrites.
Okay, but he's come out very strong on this, and he has castigated anybody who has said one wrong word about China. And that has nothing to do with politics. That has all to do with money. That is the only reason that nobody in the NBA will stand up for what is happening in China, and that's because of the money. Well, if you're so brave and you're so tough, rather than stand up in a country that actually supports your right for free speech and allows you to dissent like this, why don't you say something about a country that does not allow dissent in any way? You speak against the government, you disappear.
I don't, but I agree with that. I do think he can be hypocritical, but I mean, it's name somebody who isn't.
Why do I need to name somebody who isn't? He's the one who's taking the stand. He's the one who's threatening the end of the NBA basketball season because he's chosen one particular hill to die on.
Whether you like it or not, it's also a different audience. I mean, it is a different audience and makeup than who is watching baseball. I mean, you might have a large group of Africans who think this is bigger than basketball, go ahead and cancel it. I can't speak for what that community and who watches basketball. I mean, like, speak on for people who might watch baseball, but I don't watch basketball. I mean, I watch March Madness when it happens, but that's it. I'm not the core target audience that's watching basketball and is expecting my athletes to speak up about it. I can't speak on that.
You. But what about those members of the audience who don't want their athletes to speak up about it?
You're always
tuning in to watch a baseball game. That's it, or a basketball.
You're never going to you make some people happy some of the time, but you're never going to make all the people happy all the time.
Right, I know, but my point is, you risk alienating them permanently, and you may never get them back.
Yeah, and yes, Pete, that's going to be true. But if it's not that, it's going to be something else that they feel alienated and say they're going to walk away from the game, never walk away from the game. I've said I'm sick of baseball before too. Hold on a second. Now, this isn't just, you cannot just point at the one thing that their most recent. Oh, where'd he go? Okay, he's gone. So it's just you and me. He didn't like being cut off. I'm not sure where we're in. He'll be back on. Oh, there he is. Okay. I don't think we can point at this one event and say this is what caused people to do this. It's a culmination of all of these things. Now, the most recent shooting, look, I tend to kind of hold off for a while before I even comment on anything because there's so much detail we never learn about, right? Or we find out more and more with each day what the reality was and what happened. But I think the protesting is more from all of these things, all of it. And we're hearing about it all the time now. And some things get reported and some things don't. And look, the point is, it's something that's been around for a very long time. And I'm more aware now because of people like Palmer, Alexander, who I've talked to, and Arlington Lane. And it almost made me want to reach out to friends that I've known through the military that are black. And look, I don't understand what they have to deal with day in and day out. I'm understanding more now, right? And so I think by baseball protesting, you've got more people that look like me and look like you that are listening more than we ever have, okay? And some of us are going to be really pissed off about it. Some of us don't want politics in the game. I don't know how you avoid it in 2020. I think we're all batshit crazy if we think we expect people just to sit down, play your sport, entertain me, and don't talk. That's
Ron, I'm not saying don't talk. I'm saying don't talk during the game. Play the game.
Well, or choose not to, which they have.
And talk afterwards. I'm fine with you talking afterwards. But play the game. Play the goddamn game.
Well, I goddamn think they should have sat out last night.
Because then you're giving me the choice to turn off if I don't want to listen to it. Right? But if you're canceling the game, I don't have a choice.
You know what? I don't take this the wrong way. I don't care how the grumpy middle-aged guys that can't get their baseball in one night feel. Because I'm thinking about others more so than I am myself right now, maybe more than I ever have. And so I don't care. Whoever wants to piss and moan and say they're going to walk away from a sport, which they're never fucking going to, by the way, Everybody can crow as much as they want to. All right, I'm done. I'll read the shit tonight. I'm done. I'm no longer a fan. Okay. If Marvel releases a movie that you absolutely despise, you're not a Marvel fan anymore. The Last Jedi for Star Wars almost did that to me, but look, I'm still here, even though I was furious and still am. Whatever. So Guy, go ahead. Blow your stack out there on social media. Say something that's astronomically stupid and threaten to walk away. You're not going to get my money anymore. Bullshit. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow night. So I don't buy it, and I don't feel sorry for him.
What else are you going to? Because eventually you're going to start cutting everything out that you don't agree with politically or culturally. You're going to have a very, very small, I don't know what you'd be able to enjoy more. It's the same thing as when people say, I'm never going to watch another movie that has this actor in it. Well, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, great. Or I'm never going to listen to an album or go to a concert by this band again. Oh, okay. I mean,
but isn't
great.
that how we ended up? But isn't that how we ended up where we are today? We're so polarized because we don't have anything that we can find in common because we've allowed politics to creep into everything. Every aspect of our life is politicized. And what I'm saying is I sympathize.
Agree with.
Right. And what I'm saying is I sympathize with people who want to say, look, can we please at least, this is something that we all enjoy. Let's not bring politics into it so we can continue to enjoy it together. But that's not happening.
Yeah. And there is something to be said for that, Pete.
It's too late to unring that bell either, to act like that's we can wish for what, what I would love for politics to be, or I would love for sports to be the one spot that was for 3 hours, you could just shut your mind off and you can be entertained. I would love that.
So then let's do it. Right.
But it doesn't, but
it does. If we surrender to it, then we're just allowing it to continue to progress. And that's what we've done. We've allowed these things to continue to creep. And we said, oh, well, you can't unring that bell. You can't change it. You can't change it. And now we are where we are. And we find increasingly few places.
And things change because of it. I mean, you can wish things would be, but I mean, to deny change is happening, then that's into for some things, it's just is that where that's just not the hill I'm going to die on. Would I love it? Yeah, but it's not the hill I'm going to die on.
Yeah. I think what I kind of feel, I understand what you're saying, Pete. It would be great to be in a place where we could all enjoy those same things, no matter our political affiliation or who we like and don't like, that we at least can go do one thing together, and we can enjoy that one thing together, no matter who you are. I'd love to be in a place like that. I just don't feel like we are, and so that's kind of the issue I'm having, and it is directed to fans because some ugliness and really ignorance has come out loud on social media regarding a couple players choosing to sit out a game, or teams electing not to play because they have black athletes and they're going to stand with their friends. They're going to stand with their teammates. Okay, we're not playing this game tonight. Reality, it's one night, but it's a statement, and I thought it should have been a little bit stronger, but it's something. At least it's directionally, they're doing something different. They're trying to do something about a problem, and I don't have a problem with that at all. I think they should have taken it a step farther.
But what are they going to do about it?
Well,
realistically,
Pete, is your better alternative just to fucking do nothing and let everything keep happening and turning a blind eye to it?
No, but they have a platform. People do listen to them. Al, you indicated it, and you're absolutely right. They have influence. So talk about it. But what does canceling? And I think that's part of the reason why they're doing it is because they're realizing that for all their bloviating, right? What they're doing is not affecting that change. It's not doing anything. So by continuing to cancel games, how does that change anything? Yeah, we're talking about it, but what does that do?
I saw that. Yeah. Well, you know what, Pete? At the end of the day, you could be right, but the thing is, though, how do you get people's attention? How do you get people's attention that want nothing to do with this? They sit in their home. They never go out. They come from some
Were
small
people
Midwestern
not paying
town.
attention before the NBA canceled games? You
know
cannot
what?
tell me that people are not aware of what's been going on for the last 3 months.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, how do you get people's attention that aren't not aware? They just don't want to hear it. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to see it. They don't want to acknowledge it. How do you get their attention? Don't play a baseball game. Don't play one night.
And you
that's
think
going to get their attention.
Change their mind? Do you think they're going to be open to it?
No, I'm not stupid enough to believe that players canceling a game on one night, Pete, changes people's mind.
Think so.
But it's a statement, and it's one that needs to be made. It's bringing attention to it. I think that's the point. I don't think Dexter Fowler, by electing to not play last night, thought he was going to change every Cardinals fan's mind. That's not his goal.
But maybe one person's changed.
You got to start somewhere. I mean, you have to start somewhere. You have to do something. So anyway, just my thought on it. I'm less like fired up about that, and I'm more fired up about what people are saying about it. But
and I know you collected a.
I think that's a huge thing because I think it does reveal ignorance.
Oh my God, on a maximum strength level.
I know, Ron, you've collected a sample of some of your favorites. So why don't you share those with us and dig us out of this depressing start to this week's episode?
Well, there's an interesting one. This happened shortly before we even started. And by the way, so we're broadcasting on Cardinals Podcast Network for some inexplicable reason again, but I've shared it out at least. So okay, so this happened. There's a video clip here. Okay, I'm gonna play the video clip. It's only about a minute, and then it was followed by somebody commenting on this video, and I was just dumbfounded by it. So let me get it queued up here.
A lot, and it's not just limited to Cardinals fans. You see that with prospects a lot, and it's not just limited to Cardinals fans. It's all sports and it's all cities, and we do like. And I've made this analogy before. There are just some people that aren't going to let the wine breathe. As soon as they pop the cork, Jim, they've got the bottle to their lips. They don't.
Great analogy.
They don't do it. So, do you know how to drive a stick shift?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of people don't. So, but some people do. So, what happens if you just leave it in first gear? How far are you going to get, and how fast are you going to get?
Not very.
Blow out.
And you're probably going to burn it out, right?
These guys are probably in about third gear. Typically, they have 5 gears in a stick shift, right? Those guys.
Great analogy. Great analogy.
It's analogy day. It's analogy. As is my one time in the month. I guess the closer's mentality when you just said that, and I agree with what you're saying, by the way. A closer's mentality is a lot like I was as a test taker as a student. I wasn't studying until the pressure was on. It had to be that last hours before. I'm not studying a week out. And I think if you look at how they operate in this game, it's kind of probably the same feeling, right? Jesus, did I just do another analogy? I just did.
It's Analogy Tuesday.
Okay. So it was a short video clip of the show we did on Tuesday with Ruffled Feathers over at Two Birds on a Bat. And I shared that around to most of the groups that I'm a part of that are Cardinals fans, just to kind of promote the show. The response I get to the comment on this video is just, I'll read it. 3 strikes, BLM, name of victims, quote unquote, on jerseys, black national anthem, kneeling will destroy these leagues. There are rules in the NBA about standing for the national anthem, and all leagues have rules against not showing up to play. Players do as they please because there's no punishment for them. They will get their money and they will go to their mansions. The players are turning this into players versus the fans. They don't care about the fans as long as they get their money. I'm betting on the fans. Prediction. Every league that allows players to take over will eventually regret their decision. If you agree, please post this on all your sports groups. That was the goddamn response to my video about me using way too many analogies. That's how stupid we're getting. Okay? And I can go on and on and on. This is I'm not gonna mention the page name here. It's not the one you think. That one's bad enough. But as we go through the show, I'm gonna pick out some good ones and I'm just gonna give them to you as we work through. But I am so embarrassed to be a Cardinals fan over the last 48 hours. Reading this shit. We have some of the dumbest fucking fans on the planet. And I'm not joking.
I agree.
Look, in reality, I know every fan base has a group of village idiots, right? But I'll tell you what I'm reading here, I can't believe that. There should be something in your brain that says, wow, that looks embarrassing. I'm not going to hit the post button. and they do it anyway, and they look stupid. Okay, so one, thinking like some of these people do is dumb. Posting every thought you have in your head on social media, dumber. Having your face and name attached to it, dumbest.
Wait, actually, in defense, that's actually fairly brave. It's not the smartest thing in the world, but it's brave. I mean, it's far braver than the anonymous eggs on Twitter who feel invulnerable because they can post anything they want to because you don't know who it is. I mean, at least there's some there's
I wish I could
some accountability.
I wish I could make you feel better by saying you're right, but you're not. It's stupidity. It's not bravery. There's a distinct difference between being brave, knowing that you're afraid but still doing it anyway, and just being dumb. And I'm telling you, this fan base on social media, especially Facebook, oh my God, it is spread shot of dumbasses everywhere. And unfortunately, those are the ones that post the most shit. And there should be something in your brain that says, wow, this kind of makes me look bad, or this should be embarrassing commenting like this because I'm a big fucking baby because a player didn't choose to play tonight, but it doesn't really change my life at all. I mean, it doesn't. I wake up the next morning the same way I did today. And to talk like this, to have those thoughts, I mean, you're just projecting to people how stupid you are. Stupid. So fuck you, Cardinals fans. That's how I feel today. And I'm not talking to 100% of you.
The show title?
I'm talking to 5% of you dickheads out there. 5% of you that hog the mic, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys again.
I could probably tell you where in St. Louis they live, which probably isn't even in St. Louis. Probably on the other side of the river, which isn't in Illinois, but I'm talking about. I
know. You know what, El? You can take this whole chunk in the middle of the United States that's got pockets of Cardinals fans everywhere. It's got a wide reach because of going back to the days of KMOX where that was their team. They didn't have an alternative, anybody else. So you've got people all over the Midwest. It's coming from everywhere. It's coming from people I recognize their names from my hometown. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Who gave you the internet? Because you should be the last person that ever gets a hold of it.
Oh, I'm sure. It's just, I would just bet here in the thick of the heart of the Cardinal, fan base, I bet life-changing money. I knew where most of those kinds of messages were coming from. So.
Yeah. Well, they got swept by the Pirates today too. So basically, the Cardinals could have made maybe the fans a little bit better today by winning a game or two. Instead, they took a thing of kerosene. They said, "Hey, we'll put this fire out," and they just squirted it all over it. So. Yeah.
It would have been better served by not playing.
Only slightly
Oh
worse.
shit, Pete! There you go. It would have been. It would have been better.
All right. So we're roughly at the halfway point. What are your impressions of the season so far, guys?
I'll let you go on this one because I'm hunting right
now. Well, again, as an Orioles fan as well, I mean, they're better than them. It's not a high bar. I don't know. It was one of those things where I was like really eager for the season to start. You kind of like disbelieve that it was even going to start. And then like, as it's been going on, I kind of wish it hadn't started. I don't know. I mean, I just think we would have been.
What is it about this season that
this year? Just no.
What would you have be different?
I wouldn't have even just started baseball at all. I mean, it's just too fucked up. It's because just the whole thing. It's some teams are sitting. I mean, like you had teams test positive, and then we had to make up like 55 games in 49 days. It's just it's so 2020 absurd. I wouldn't have even had this season start. It's a big. If you want to talk about just a big. Can I cuss?
Yes.
Yeah, I already
Please
did.
do. You've made me nervous never doing that. I don't like it.
It's like season is a clusterfuck. It just is. It just is. I mean, like it just is. There's nothing. You're like, you're gonna look back at this season and be like, wow, that, you know what? In 2020, thank God baseball came back, and it was the rallying cry we needed to just get our footing. It just.
It's hard to find. It's hard to find the words. I trust me.
It's like Little League on steroids. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Give us one positive out of the season for you, El.
I'll give you time to think about it. Don't need negativity on the baseball field. Get rid of him now. He's becoming a cancer to the team, and we don't need that. He may be an outstanding pitcher, but he can easily be replaced.
Oh, I thought they were talking about Harrison Bader.
It's probably a
Who is this
post-identical.
about?
Jack Flaherty.
Jack Flaherty.
He can easily be replaced, although he's an outstanding player. Thanks, Sue. I won't call your last name out.
First
Ron,
of all,
what about you? Where are you? Where are you at the halfway point?
There's
of
more
baseball?
coming, and I'm going to keep doing this the whole time.
I know.
Okay.
Halfway point. What are your feelings?
Well, I don't know. I'm more like, at times I'm curious as to how we're going to look back on this years from now, right? Whoever ends up on top, some of the teams who sneak in that we didn't think had a chance because the season was so short. Your Orioles, have actually a real shot at making a postseason.
14 and 16.
Over 162 games, I would say there's no way in hell. But over this short burst, I mean, they could do it. I just wonder how we're going to look back on this, Pete, and what kind of validity we're going to give it in our own heads, right? 4 or 5 years from now, we're going to look at the 2020 champion and go, yeah, whatever, that was such a screwed up year. None of us want to remember 2020 for any reason, other than you got really fit. I mean, really fit. You posted a lot of pictures before and after, so you probably have you'll have some fond memories. I don't.
Well, I feel like I'm gonna come. I mean, like, my birthday's a month from today, actually. So like, I feel like nobody's seen me. Obviously, I haven't gone anywhere. Nobody's seen me this year. So I'm here when I turn 45. People are gonna be amazed when they finally see me, and I'm out and about, and it'd be great. Nobody's gonna see me when I turn 44, but that's fine. Whatever.
Well, no, that's a good segue. I want to ask you. You posted something about how you went back to the office for the first time in like months. Did you get reactions to people from your office? Because did you have any reactions from people going, "Wow, you know, look how much you"? No. Okay, they don't look at you, or you work by yourself. I don't.
It's just not that.
Okay.
They're not a lot. Come on. It's 2020. They can't say how good she looks.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Yeah, no, I would be the anomaly in
that
my
you look
department.
good?
So it.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Glad I asked. But Pete, I think I'm really curious about how we're going to look back on all of this. Now, as far as how the season has gone, look, I have right now no expectations to win anything this year. I think they're 500 right now. Their offense has struggled. I won't get into this tirade again. You've heard me say it before on here. Their offense is struggling. They just don't have the firepower consistently to make it tough on the other teams. With the Cardinals, the comfort zone you get in, if you get out and a lead ahead of them early in the game, I imagine a lot of pitchers around this league are ultra relaxed. I mean, it's almost like they're on melatonin the rest of the game because they don't have to, they don't have to bear down and grind it out because the Cardinals, and when they get down, man, I swear, they just go boom, 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 innings over quick. And then they're also suffering from this syndrome where runner on third, less than 2 outs, cannot get them home, man. And we weren't used to that style of Cardinals baseball in the 2000s. I mean, they consistently took, every little opportunity they got, more than times than not, Pete, they capitalized on most of them. And we just haven't seen that brand of Cardinal baseball for a long time. And it's just strange to people. And it's been 3 or 4 years now, but we still look at this and go, shit, it's still the same problem year in and year out now. It's become a trend. That's what I've seen so far, Pete. I don't have a lot of high expectations because it's such a weird year anyway, that I'm just kind of, I don't know. I'm glad I get to turn a game on, but most of the time I'm glad it's just on in the background.
It's really highlights how boring they are.
I tell you,
she's not kidding.
You're right, Ron. I wonder how. I do wonder how we're going to look back on 2020 and the legitimacy of the season as a whole, because it's going to be so easy to get into the playoffs. And as we know, ultimately that's the goal is you just need to get into the playoffs. And then if you can just get on a heater, right? If you can just get 2 or 3 pitchers who get hot, you can run the table. You don't have to be a great team. And so I wonder if we're going to look back on it, and the teams that, like, if you look at it right now, you would assume that it's going to be the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series. Yeah. But all a team needs is for their top 3 pitchers to get in the rotation to get hot, and you can take down those giants. And yeah, that happens in baseball from time to time, but over the course of a 162 game season, that all gets smoothed out. And those teams that have really good pitchers, but don't have a complete team tend to get eliminated along the way. However, I'm hopeful that some of the things that come out of this season do stick. Can't believe I'm going to say this. Kind of like the DH. I like the consistency.
I'm with you.
I like the fact that your sphincter doesn't start to tighten up when you get to the 7th and 8th spot in the lineup, because you know that it's pretty much do or die right here. Because if those hitters don't come through, you know that your pitcher's not going to do anything. And I've long been an advocate of more scheduled doubleheaders. I just think that maintaining that link to baseball's past is a good thing. And I like the idea of the 7-inning doubleheaders. Let's schedule them. Let's make those a regular thing, especially because it changes. And I got this from listening to the Compound podcast today. It completely changes the way that a manager manages. And I like that it throws a curveball at them, right? Because if you only have to go 7 innings, if you've got a stud like Jack Flaherty or Yu Darvish, you can trust them to go 7 innings in game 1. And then in game 2, you can get really creative. If you get into a tough situation with your starter in the 3rd or 4th inning, well, hell, bring in your closer, shut down that threat, and then bring in your long guy and get through the next couple of innings and bring in your second most effective reliever to close out the game. You don't approach 7 innings the same way that you would 9 innings. And I would love to see those kind of strategy, the things that would affect strategy become long-term changes. Still don't like the idea of the runner on second base at the beginning of extra innings. That shit needs to go.
So I got to see that physically for the first time today in the Cardinals' first game. It's their first game? Yeah, it was the first game.
Yeah, they lost in 9 innings, right?
Yeah. I hadn't actually physically seen it myself since the World Baseball Classic did it. And I don't know how I feel about it yet because I get why they're doing it this year. And if you're going to do strange shit and you're going to tinker around with stuff, this is the year to do it. I don't know how I feel about it yet, Pete. I'm kind of like indifferent on it at the moment because I don't think I've seen enough of it yet to know one way or the other whether it helps or it hurts or if it just feels kind of silly at the end of the day. I don't know yet. Well, before we get,
have you found that one good thing to take out of this season yet?
Well, yeah. I do enjoy the 7-inning doubleheaders. I do like that. Having an American League team as my other team, I've always been used to DH. So I've never understood why people are like so anti that. To me, I've enjoyed it because pitchers batting bore me. So like that. I've never had a problem with it. I think it's a great addition. I think good. But I would say those are, but second, I don't like the person on second base. That to me, like, that's little league. I feel like that's like, but I do enjoy it.
Okay, so
I'd much rather accept ties as an outcome.
Ties, Jesus Christ. Okay, this is somebody who's actually agreeing with Jack, but then they take a very dark turn. Oh. Right on, Jack. Fuck the Midwest hypocrites. It's people like you they hate, but they worship pussy grabbing draft dodging, tax evader, among the many other crimes. Jesus would be pissed.
That's a lot to unpack there.
I just want to thank everyone that has identified yourself as a racist or bigot. It has made it very easy to purge that crap from my feed. It would be nice if the admins were to follow suit. This is no place for that here. Sorry, one sane one among this. It's funny when you read up and down this shit. Like, there'll be one normal person among in between every 20 batshit crazy people that are posting. It's just amazing, and it goes on and on and on. I could literally, if I copied and pasted, which I won't give these people my time, this could fill up a 500-page novel, all of it. It's incredible.
Ron, that's your first book.
F.U. Cardinals
Facebook
fans.
is a disease.
You know what?
It's just a cess.
I always thought that, and Pete alluded to it too. So there are some out there that use handles on Twitter and they don't reveal themselves, and therefore they don't pay a price for anything they say, right? And that does happen. Not all are like that. There are some that are actually pretty normal. They just don't protect themselves personally. They want to do that, right? But there are some out there that do it so they can hide behind the bushes, throw shots at people, and then you never know who they are. Now.
But those, I've always dismissed anybody that's anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
I've always, if they are hateful or gross, like to me, like, and you're anonymous, I've never paid attention to you. Like if you're such a pussy that you won't have your name, if you want to have your face. I mean, like, of course I don't have my name out there, but I have my face out there.
Yeah.
If you're like 3 levels of anonymity and then you're going to be gross, okay. I'm actually more disturbed by somebody who has their name and face, like on Facebook, and just says it.
Yeah,
like,
well,
me,
it's
much more fucking disturbed than a person who doesn't have the balls.
Yeah.
To like say, like, have a picture of themselves. Like, it disturbs me so much more that you're like, oh my God, you are comfortable with this. Like, you are.
Yeah. And there are.
All right.
You're absolutely right. There's people on both sides of
job.
this. Yeah, there's people on both sides of it. Elle, you're right. There's people that have no shame at all, and they'll put their name and face on anything they say. And there's a little bit of credibility that goes with that too. Like, hey, shit, at least you're not hiding. Then there's the hiders, though. But my point was, I was trying to make, and I started off in a bad way. But look, I've seen Twitter be an absolute dumpster fire, where it can be nasty, it can be
Twitter's
vile,
the worst.
It can be vile.
By far.
I've always thought it was the worst, Pete. Then Facebook arrives last night on my phone. I don't think so. I think Twitter's a safer place to let your kids hang out than Facebook. This shit is...
Kids don't want to hang out on Facebook.
No, of course not, because that's where, the boomers...
It's where the old people go.
That's where the boomers hang out. And the boomers, unfortunately, are the ones that I'm reading that are like... I mean, there isn't a full-colored head of hair on any of this shit. The people are saying this stuff.
And everybody who's like, this picture's a piece of crap, or probably a good 250.
Right? Look how far back he is. Look how far back this team is. Does he not want to make the playoffs? Do you think Jack Flaherty's primary concern over the last few days has been, I really want to make the playoffs amongst the issues that he's feeling, because he is biracial, by the way, for those of you who look at him on TV and don't know. He is. So if you didn't know...
The fact that he's feeling something and he's using his platform to say, you don't have to agree with it, but it's his right.
Now, you know what? There's just not people who think that way, and trade him. There's one that just simply says, trade him.
We'll take him.
Of course.
You don't got anything we want for Jack Flaherty, Pete. Sorry, we were pass.
What do you mean? Last week you said Albert Elmore Jr. is a better center fielder than Harrison Bader. We'll trade you. We'll give you Albert.
Actually, I think the question
Bader,
was
Tots.
Who's been worse this year. Not do I think who has the higher ceiling, which I don't think any of their ceilings are very high. But who's been worse this year?
I'm just trying to help you out. You
guys
can have. I tell you what, and we'll give you Hayward back too, and we'll take Flaherty off your hands.
Okay, let me think about it. I'll get back to you.
All right. Trade deadline coming up. Are we expecting any movement at all? It's Monday night.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah. And the trade deadline's the 31st, right? What's like in 2 days?
Yeah. Monday night.
What is today?
Today's the 27th.
Jesus
27th.
Christ, I'm in a vortex here. I don't even know what calendar day it was. I woke up. There was a night last week when, I actually started getting. It was 2 weeks ago, and I started getting the shit ready. Pete, my wife reminded me it was Wednesday.
Well, yeah, because we were texting, and I said, "Sorry, I can't do the show tonight."
Yeah, that's the night I was confused.
Tomorrow.
I was
And you were
completely
like,
confused because
"Right."
every day is the same, and Elle hasn't left her. She didn't leave her place for like what, 4 months? I mean, I know you were in heaven. I would have lost my mind.
Yeah, like last week I went to work for the first time in 5 months. So, it was. And then now they've told us now that I only have to go back once a month.
Wow. God. Where's this place at?
I have to work a full week once every month until at least Christmas.
Yeah, my offices are shut down through the end of the year, although we do go in once in a while because physically sometimes we have to be in there. Not often, but yeah, it is kind of strange. I mean, but with my work, it's like I'm looking at their faces so much on Zoom calls and team calls that like when I see them in person, it's not a shock to me anymore. Like, okay, hey, so you've got a piece of cloth over your face now. It's actually become more convenient in our environment. Just stay home and have your conference call rather than being in the same meeting room. So.
Yeah, well, you guys know I'm in schools and we're expected to be there. And it's really weird to walk around a high school with two buildings that are built to accommodate, I mean, really ultimately over 4,000 kids.
Yeah.
And to know that there is somebody behind every closed door teaching a class.
An empty classroom.
But they're by themselves. And then the bells ring to remind them that the class periods are ending. But there's no noise out in the hallway when they do.
Yeah, that is bizarre, and
it's eerie.
I get why they do it because some of those. I'm taking it that some teachers probably need their whiteboards and they need certain things in order to instruct, and so.
And also you can guarantee a much better quality of service. On the whole, when you're talking about 300 plus teachers, they're going to have much better internet access, much better access to technology and everything in the school than the vast majority of them are going to have at home.
Yeah.
So there's a level of reliability and support.
I work at a university and it's bizarre. It's bizarre for it to just be packed. It's weird.
It's like a Life After People. Remember that old History Channel show?
That was a great show, man.
It was a great show.
It's like a zombie movie or like where everything, you're waiting to turn a corner and they're running down the hall at you. It's so empty. It's creepy.
I know we had to tell one of our longtime listeners and viewers that zombies weren't out and about. Remember him? Good old CJ. We were worried about him one night. Remember he called in and he just kept looking over his shoulder. We were like, dude, you all right, man? Somebody after you? But trade deadline, I don't. The Cardinals need something for offense. I just don't think enough is going to be out there available for them to deal for. I don't think this Arenado thing is going to pop up. I mean, it might, but there's going to be so many other teams that might be pushing for something that are willing to offer more than what the Cardinals typically do. So I just don't. I don't expect anything big to happen. And the Cardinals don't really need anything for their bullpen right now. Their bullpen's actually not bad. I know there's a lot of young people, and they've had so many debuts this year. Right, because of COVID, because they had players out, they had so many debuts, young guys, right, that wouldn't have been up this year. They wouldn't have been up, but they're pitching in some high pressure situations. They're being brought in when they normally wouldn't. Pete, you made the point earlier. You manage a 7-game doubleheader way different than you do any other game. And so, CJ just texted. He remembers that. You know what, CJ? I'm glad you actually messaged me, so I know you're alive because we've been worried about you. But yeah, it's. I just don't know what they're going to do. They got so much, and thank God, that the Cardinals have the depth they have in their organization because with the pitching hits they've taken, they could have really felt this. Some of the other teams would have really felt this, Pete, if they would have had as many hits to just from COVID and just injury alone. They lost Miles Michaelis. Jordan Hicks had to opt out. He was still recovering from Tommy John surgery, so you lose your closer. Carlos Martinez gets COVID, and he was back in the rotation, but he could also be. Oh, there goes El. He could have been a piece for the bullpen too. They just have so much depth there, guys that could be starters, but they're now filling in the bullpen. That I don't see them desperate to make a move for any bullpen help or anything. And right now, I just don't think offensively there's going to be enough out there that's going to be dangled in front of anybody. So, I mean, how do you get a gauge on how good your team is or not when you've only been playing for a month?
Well, and with every team pretty much in contention now, there are going to be, I think, far fewer sellers.
Yeah, right.
But also, I think the tough thing is going to be, how do you accurately assess proper value on a trade? When one, the season's so short, two, you have an opportunity to get in, and three, how much are you willing to give up when you don't know what the financial future is? You know, are you going to give up a prospect for somebody? I don't know that it's going to happen. And I don't see owners committing vast amounts of money in order to facilitate a trade. So yeah, Ron, I'm with you. I think it's going to be quiet this year. I think this is probably going to be the quietest trade deadline we've ever seen. Looking over on YouTube, one of my former students weighing in, and I think he's got a point. Mike Yelovich says the normal people are actually the ones working. The crazies are the ones who are posting. So that may be a good point, Ron. The reason that Facebook has blown up is because the people who are the furthest out there got nothing else to do.
They don't. No, they really don't. They got way too much time on their hands. I got another one. Here we go. Thanks, Rob. Fuck him. I'll never watch Cardinals or MLB again. Those rich-ass snobs don't care when we lose a service member while protecting their rights to be millionaires.
Come on, Ron. You're a service member. You have an attitude, or you have an opinion.
Yeah, I am a service member, and I don't have that opinion. There's my opinion. Get rid of him. This is baseball, and we all know what's going on. So what's your point?
What is going on?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I'm serious. What's going on?
Oh, no, Elle disappeared. She'll either be back or
I know.
Or she
I
won't.
got bounced for a second.
You got bounced for a second. I'm golden here, man. I've got I'm cranking out about 800 megabytes download speed, about 900 uploads. So it's you guys. It's not me.
Mulder?
Oh, you can't hear
Scully?
me?
No.
Oh.
No, I can hear you. I'm just wondering, are Mulder and Scully monitoring this? Is that what's going on?
I don't know. I don't know what you're doing.
Is the truth out there, Ron?
They don't play, then they should not get paid. No shit.
Well, I mean, technically, according to the terms of the contract, that's absolutely it. But that's entirely up to their employers whether or not they want to pay them.
Fire the bum.
One thing that I would
fire the bum. That's what it says. Fire the bum.
The one thing that I would just turn around and ask all these commenters who have that comment is, have you been working every day since March, and have you been getting paid?
Have I?
Because if you've been able to work from home, I know that you're not putting in 8 hours of work.
There's no way. No. Well, I can't.
There's no way.
There are some days I have to put in more, but not all of them.
Right. But I mean, how often are you taking advantage of the fact that you're home and there's a little thing and you got a break, so you're going to take care. You wouldn't run home to take care of a little home project that's only going to take half an hour if you were at work. But, since you're at home, you can take a 30-minute break because there's no official start and stop. If your employer decided that they wanted to not pay you, I'm sure you wouldn't be okay with that, would you?
Here we go. We're hearing from our missing co-host tonight. So I got
Which one?
So I got a new phone and don't have iMessage anymore. Got distracted. So if you want to send me any text today, I have not received them. I mean, how long has this been
Elliot?
on? Yeah, it's Elliot. So how many how long have we had this show on Thursdays?
Well, wait. He got a new phone. So did he also get a new number?
He got a new number. Because it doesn't show up as him. It just shows up as a 309 area code. So
it would have helped if he had let us know that.
But still, I didn't see any text letting us know there was a show tonight. But how many years now have we been doing this? There's Elle. She's back. How many years on Thursday nights at 9:00 Central Time have we been doing this show? Almost 3 years with Elliot on board. You and I almost 4.
You and I were coming up on 4.
And he's coming up on
almost
3
with Elliot.
Yeah. Elliot, if you notice, we have somebody with a very similar name as yours on right now. So we are in the process of phasing you out.
That's right. We're just shortening the name. Elliot is too many syllables, so L-E-L. That's it. It's a very simple transition.
It is a simple transition. Pete, what do we have next? Because that was a trade deadline. I don't know what you expect for your Cubs. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot. I don't think we're going to see.
They have holes, but I agree with you, Ron. I don't think we're going to see anything because I think it's just too easy. It's too difficult to gauge what's the proper return on a trade. You're not going to see any real prospects move that would facilitate a huge trade. So I think we're going to see a lot of people just staying put. And too many teams are in contention. I mean, right now, what is it? It's the Royals and maybe the Angels. I think everybody else is still technically in it. So speaking of the Angels, my God, how does a team get that terrible? Poor Joe Madden is losing his mind. He got tossed out of 2 games in 3 days.
Yeah.
They've got all kinds of talent, and they're terrible.
Well, you know, and I know I've given this guy a lot of shit on here. But, you know, they brought over, I mean, and now knowing what we know about the Astros now, it doesn't piss me off as much. But, you know, when they signed Ohtani after the Astros won it in 2017, you remember my reaction to them putting a picture of just Shohei up next to the championship Astros and saying, you know, the Angels are back in it. Like, seriously, you sign one guy who's never swung at one major league pitch, never pitched to one major league batter, and now you're putting his picture next to the World Series champions. I've hated baseball for the way they promote some people, the way they choose to promote some people and then not others. Like, you're trying to manufacture a phenomenon, right? Like a phenomenal athlete. And like the shitty analogy I made earlier, yes, baseball took the cork out of that wine bottle and put their lips right to it. And this kid hasn't been very good. He's got a lot of talent. He's got skill. He hasn't been that good. He hasn't been good enough to live up to what baseball tried to do. And Artie Moreno's checkbook, those players, what the product he's put on the field, I mean, if you talk about anybody getting ripped off, right, over the years, it's been Artie Moreno, because he's tried to buy his way into contention. He's tried to purchase an all-star team, and he's failed at every turn. He went out and bought Pujols one year along with C.J. Wilson. I mean, hell, he might as well have signed C.J. Basket. And then CJ, you could have pitched better than I think CJ Wilson over the years. But you know, and then you go out and you sign Josh Hamilton the next year. Then you get this phenomenon, this phenomenon from Japan. You bring him over, and he's supposed to save your whole damn team, sell a lot of jerseys. I mean, it's been a shit show ever since he's tried to buy his way in. Like, and I'm just wondering about guys like this, Pete. Like, when do you stop doing that? When do you say, like, in that definition of insanity, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, and you get the same results? Like, when is that ownership group going to figure that one out? Where we're going to have to start developing some talent, and then we'll supplement it as we need. We can't go up. We can't just throw money at a problem. Not in baseball. Some years you get away with it. Last team I remember that got away with it was kind of the 20. You could look at the 2018 Red Sox and say, well, they kind of did that. You look at the 2009 Yankees and say, nope, he's never played baseball. Never mind, C.J. Basket cannot pitch better than Shohei Ohtani. C.J. Wilson. But, you know, like, at what point in time do they go, okay, we've got to approach this whole thing differently, and we've got to start looking at our own internal development. It's to me, if there's any, like, karma in this game sometimes, it's that's what it feels like to me, is when you try to buy your way in, and it just blows up in your face.
And, you know, also, I think Ohtani is a great lesson for lessons that have been learned through history, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why we don't see, once you get above really college, you don't see pitcher-hitter combos. Guys specialize and they do one or the other, and they may come in every once in a while and they may pitch effectively, or they may pitch and they're effective as a pinch hitter or an occasional hitter. But there's a reason why we don't see it anymore the way that we did early on in baseball. It's the same reason that we don't see two-way players in football, right? When you get to this level where everybody is outstanding and is the very best of the best, you just can't split your focus like that. And, you know, I think the Angels and Shohei Ohtani might have been better served by sitting down and saying, you're going to do one thing.
Yeah.
And we'll use your other talent occasionally, but we've got, 150 years of baseball experience that says this doesn't work anymore.
I know. That's a good point. Yeah.
But if Artie Moreno wants to continue to not learn the lessons of baseball wisdom, he can go ahead and keep writing those checks. That's okay. That's fine.
What do we got next? I know we're getting on an hour
Last
here.
thing, playoff bubbles. What are you thinking, guys? At last I read, I mean, we had talked about it before, and it certainly seems to make sense that the Chicagoland area anyway, Milwaukee and Chicago, would be a playoff bubble, but it now looks like they're looking at California and Texas as their two bubble areas, I would assume because of the weather.
Go ahead, El.
No. Well, we're in Texas right now. I mean,
Well, we're not in the playoffs, so.
The whole close to the coast.
Right.
Oh yeah, put it right on the coast next week. Be a great timing.
Houston, like, it's oh God, I would think they're not
So basically, you've got 8. You'll have effectively, right? There's 16 teams in the playoffs, right? So you would have 8 in Texas. You would have 8 in California. You would have to, like, 2 stadiums could easily play 2 games a day. And
you think about it. If you stop and think about it for a second, have they knocked down the old Rangers Stadium yet? Because if they haven't, that gives you. If they haven't, that gives you 3 stadiums in close proximity. I don't know if Texas Stadium
doesn't the Astrodome still exist?
No, they blew it up.
Did they? Okay. What a shame.
Yeah, but I don't know if Texas Stadium could be configured for baseball. But if they haven't knocked down the old Rangers Stadium yet, you've got 2 stadiums right next to each other. One of which is now indoors.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't require a lot of travel. And then I suppose that the other site that they would be thinking about would indeed be Houston. But then, as we discussed the other day, you got the opportunity for 5 stadiums out in California if that's your other bubble. So I get that, but I would think that you would try to limit the cross-contamination of your bubbles for as long as possible.
Yeah.
It would make sense to have 4 bubbles, but I don't know if they're going to be able to do that, especially given the potential weather challenges that would be lying ahead of them.
Yeah. L's frozen. FYI.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw my screen adjust.
She's frozen. I don't know if she can hear us or not.
She's still there at least.
Her picture's there. She's frozen, or she's really angry at me because she's just stared the whole time. She's just staring. I think maybe she's frozen up. But look, if they want to do that, they want to try to do that. I'm cool with it at this point. There's no fans in the stands anyway, and it doesn't matter to me, Pete, where they're playing. To be honest with you, because we're seeing cardboard cutouts. We're not seeing much. To me, it doesn't matter where they play. It seems to be working for the other sports that have done this. There's still a good month in between now and then. I think the season technically ends 1 month from today, right, on the 27th of September. I mean, they might need an extra day to make up some games. I think they've built in some time for that. Sure, why not? You know what? It's 2020. Go ahead and play the playoffs and World Series in a bubble. I honestly don't care at this point. It might be a good idea. Might actually work better for them.
Yep.
But almost I wonder is like should you have not done this from the beginning? But
yeah, I get that thought. I do. Anything else we need to cover, sir? I think that's everything this week.
I think that's everything this week, and it's a lot, and it's just a little over an hour. And she evaporated from the feed, so we can go ahead and close out. I think
we thought we had her, but we didn't. Anyway, when we're not live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope, you can find us anywhere and everywhere. We do appreciate you joining us each week, and we hope that you'll continue to spread the word and share the good news. Our website is teamarivalspodcast.com. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Team Arrivals Podcast, and on Twitter at Team Arrivals Pod. Send us an email at the show at teamarrivalspodcast.com. When he decides to show up, you can find Elliot on Twitter at TOR_Elliot, and you can find him on the phone, but apparently he's changed his number, and when he does, he won't tell you what it is. You can find Ron at
TOR_Ron75.
And unfortunately, she's not here anymore, but you can always find Elle at hØle_ELLE. She's a great follow, whether you're following her on Instagram or Twitter. Loads of fun, and she's going to shame you for being as out of shape as you are. You won't find me on Twitter, so don't waste your time searching. If you are watching us live, please do catch up anywhere you listen to podcasts as well, on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher. And if you love the show, be sure to subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, tell your friends, help us spread the word, because we'd like to keep doing this for as long as you keep listening. After you've done that, leave us a review by going to ratethispodcast.com/TOR. Follow the simple instructions, and don't forget, make it a great review.
Make it a fantastic review. And you know what? If you're ever looking for us on a Thursday on Facebook and we don't pop up, you might just want to skip over to Cardinals Podcast Network, because evidently the software likes to take. I've just got to get my name off of that admin list. I don't even know how the hell I got on there. But it some reason Wirecast defaults to that unless you remember to go change it, and I seem to fail to remember to go change it. But I know there was deeper topics than we normally like to discuss in here, because we like having fun on here. And I know I've I was pretty fired up, and still am. I'm not going to back off the fact that I'm pretty disappointed in Cardinals fans in the way some of you have responded to these players. And I think that you're not gonna change your ways on Facebook by hearing me bitch about it. But I just want to let some of you know, as a lifelong Cardinals fan, as somebody who's been very loyal, spent a lot of hours, Pete, not just watching games, but doing what we do as well. And I will be 100% honest. I am embarrassed right now. I'm embarrassed to be associated with some of you, and it's shameful. Some of you guys, and you'll never feel this way because you'll lie to yourself and say, too proud. I am who I am. I'm not afraid of it. That's fine. That's cool. But you've made me ashamed to be associated as a fan of the same team with you. So, I'm not going to feel any different about that next week. I'm probably going to feel like that forever. So sorry to end on a sad note, but I still hate the Cubs, still hate the Brewers. So I'm still a Cardinals fan. I just don't like a lot of our own fans. So we'll just leave it at that. But we'll be back here next week, same time, same place. Maybe Ella will be here. Maybe we'll fire him before then and just bring Ella on with us from now on. But until then, we love you all so much, and look forward to doing it again next week. So long, everyone.